What's good, everybody, man? It's your boy Kenny Chow. We back with another video, man. If you're new, you already know what to do. Be sure to click that subscribe button right now. So I came across this video. Shout out to my boys, the Phone Bros. Andrew Tate's shocking views on Asians. Now it's gonna be kind of interesting because even though me and Cash have talked about Andrew Tate, he might not have the best delivery. You know, and sometimes he could come off as pretty harsh, but I think his message is useful to some people, you know what I'm saying? I just feel like he's obviously trying to portray the alpha male lifestyle to a lot of people. But you know what? Not everyone fits that alpha male lifestyle, and that's a fact, you know what I'm saying? Being an alpha male, not everyone's alpha male, bro. I'm telling you that right now. I'm not an alpha male. You know what I'm saying? I ain't no beta. You know what I'm saying? But it takes a lot to be called an alpha male. You feel me? So I feel like, you know, with the whole Andrew Tate thing, he portrays as an alpha male. So it's really tough because on the internet, let's be honest, a lot of people aren't alpha males on the internet. You know what I'm saying? But let's get into the video, man. Let's see what he got to say about
love him
Asians.
or hate him, Andrew Tate has a lot of thoughts about Chinese people.
The Chinese are fearless, bro.
The Chinese are extremely intelligent.
I'll take that.
China has conquered the entire earth.
In an economic way, yeah.
Have you ever seen a pregnant Chinese lady?
Wait, what?
The dudes with the smallest dicks. We're obviously the Chinese. And
All right, you know what? We got to talk about this. Welcome, everybody, to the Hot Pot Boys. David and Andrew here. David, why should we even care at all what Andrew Tate has to say about Chinese people?
Well, he does have 12 million hits, 12 billion hits on TikTok, and he is sort of this modern, like, throwback masculinity figure on the internet. So it's like, you're not trying to take everything he says as fact, but you are trying to understand why he said it.
Right. So, you know, someone's got to do the work of reacting and analyzing his most infamous quotes about Chinese people. And oddly enough, he only talks about Chinese people as like a different race outside of white and black people, it seems like. So, I don't know. It really always catches me off guard. So let's talk about it, guys. If you guys are excited about this video, please hit that like button right now and check out other episodes of the Hot Pot Boys. Let's get into it.
First clip.
Have you ever seen a pregnant Chinese lady?
what the fuck?
What does that mean?
See what I mean? They're smart, right? So the Chinese, what the Chinese do, what the Chinese do.
Yo, this was the wildest reaction to just the oddest observation ever.
Facts.
I cannot believe how this is the first time any of these guys had ever thought of a pregnant Asian woman in their entire life before. Clearly.
Yeah, they were sort of acting like 16-year-old stoners having like some sort of like mind-blown moment.
What, do Asian women just lay eggs, or like how do they just respawn their aliens? Right?
I think the truth is this: they both live in areas that are very non-Asian. Miami is about 1% Asian.
Facts.
Romania is
You know what else they said in my bro? If people in Florida say they've never seen a Chinese person pump gas, bro. I think Duke Skywalker.
2 of 1% Asian. The UK is not very East Asian, at least in terms of like people from the Orient looking.
Yeah, there's probably not a lot of Asians in Florida.
And you know, that coupled with the fact that in East Asian culture, women in the third trimester are generally very much encouraged to stay at home or be sedentary or stay in the house and not be out and about, which is more of a Western thing. And yeah, obviously, you're just not going to see that many pregnant Chinese women out between living in a place that's 1% Asian and then that culture on top of it.
It's only 1%
But yeah, I just
Asian
don't know why
Florida.
it was like that mind-blowing.
Bro, I don't see that many like 8-month pregnant women out in the city of New York at all, like of any, you know, ethnicity, to be honest. And how do you know that these people are not Chinese? Because like, are they just referring to all Asians as Chinese? Like, I don't even know.
Me and my brother were eating a kebab in Iraq. We're sitting there eating a kebab. We start to hear an AK. We're like, what the fuck? We start looking around. Chinese don't even look. They don't even care. They're just sitting there eating their kebab. Yeah, AK. If you're going to shoot me in the head, shoot me in the head. But if not, I'll go work tomorrow. They're straight about the money. And this is the third point. The Chinese will go anywhere for cash. If I were to say to you right now, you can make $10,000 a month if you go and live in the Democratic Republic of the Congo in a forest with malaria. Do you want to go? They'll say, no, it ain't worth the money. Whereas a Chinese person's like, yeah, money, yeah, okay. If there's money, they'll go.
Yo, man, Andrew Tate says everything with so much
actually.
conviction, even when he's like wrong, you know? Or just even when the observation is so basic. Listen, there are Chinese people all over the world. There is like 1.4 billion Chinese people globally, if we're talking about the diaspora too. And yes, even 0.2% of them, if they went out and went to like the Middle East to work, yeah, I mean, you're going to see Chinese people everywhere. But to be honest, that whole story about the gunfire, to me, it's just like, yeah, if you just lived in Baghdad, you probably wouldn't be fazed by AKs rattling off,
That's
in the
facts.
distance anyways, because to be honest, that's probably just the environment.
Hey man,
out there.
Chinese people are about the money though. Don't get it
long
twisted.
story short, guys, there are a lot of people in China who really like to work. Like their religion is work
Facts.
and getting paid in exchange for their work. I will say this. Chinese do have a very high tolerance for high risk exposure environments
Factual,
to get
though.
a better salary. I think that that's one thing that not every country has in the world, to be honest, especially people who are concerned with quality of life and day-to-day lifestyle. So I would say that that's the thing. But I will say this, basing your whole viewpoint on Chinese people off like international migrants that you meet building infrastructure projects in the Middle East or Africa or
those are
Barbados or
different,
wherever,
very
that's not necessarily
bro, just saying.
like the whole picture.
Oh, and by the way, when it comes to Chinese people being fearless, yeah, the ones who went to Baghdad are fearless. David, we know a lot of like, risk-adverse Chinese people, and you will meet them in America and Canada, okay?
Yeah, I will say this. It is true. I guess what he should have said is amongst a certain class or international class of like migrant worker, they're just willing to put up with like a surprising amount of risk exposure to get a better salary. I would agree with that.
I mean,
but
I think a lot
it's
of-
just a very, very broad generalization.
I mean, a lot of people would. I've seen, like Mexican people do things that are like considered dangerous, it's just so he's like, oh, dude, Chinese people, there's so many of them and they just like to work. Mind blown.
Chinese are very, very smart like that. Have you ever seen a Chinese person working for someone who wasn't Chinese?
Bro, now that I think about it, I have not.
Not really, bro. That's a terrible take.
Yo, it's kind
What?
of funny because I was thinking about it, Andrew. Me and you are on YouTube. The majority of our audience overall is Asian, and probably the largest slice of that Asian distribution is probably Chinese American. So I cannot dispute this. Andrew, we are Chinese in some weird way working for Chinese.
That's one way to look at it. I would definitely say, like, when he's talking about Chinese people in this sense, he's clearly referring to, like, first-generation immigrants who
facts.
probably share a common language and culture and
Facts,
community.
bro.
So, obviously, they're going to work for each other. And they're just... These guys are just basing it off of, like, the shops that they know, like, maybe the restaurants or the massage parlors that they see. Like, of course, these people all work together because they all share the same language and like, you build trust in your community. So it honestly just makes a lot of sense because a lot of immigrants do that. And by the way, obviously, when he says Chinese, he's not referring to any sort of second generation, like Americanized Chinese, because we know Asian Americans obviously work for a lot of different companies.
You know what I realized though, man, is that so many people interface with so many different types of Chinese people. Like, let's say, for example, you work in like microchips or the semiconductors. You're going to interface with a lot of Chinese people that have PhDs. But if you live in Miami or Brazil or like
Facts, bro.
the
It just
UK or
depends
Romania,
what
you're
part of
probably
the
going to
world you live
interface
in.
more with like a blue collar, like factory type or like a merchant hand-to-hand type situation. And so everybody's like image of Chinese people is really shaped by like the segment of a gigantic pie that they interface with.
Wait, David, you're saying that the Chinese that are living in Romania aren't the tech Chinese? Aren't the, grad school, educated Chinese? Yeah, I don't know. It's like, it's such a...
It is
It's
different. I
just
will say
basic-
this.
I'm not saying that these Chinese people don't exist. I'm not saying that actually, because I know Tate is clearly an intelligent guy and he's sharp, but he's really just basing it off of the Chinese people he just sees in his life, and he doesn't have any Chinese friends. I know that.
Because the Chinese are extremely intelligent, and what the Chinese
Facts.
are, they're like ant people. We all work together for the good of the ant. They're bees. We work together for the good of the hive. Chinese are very, very smart like that.
When you have countries like China, where they're like a beehive, they all work together.
Basically, Andrew Tate had a colorful way of just saying that Chinese have a collectivist mindset. And this is something that like a lot of social
facts,
scientists have been saying for years.
Well, East Asia in general is way more collectivist,
Tate
and
just
it's due to
just
Confucianism, and
speaks
it's due to
so,
this, and it's
like,
due to that. And the
extreme,
Western world has always been more individualistic. But, to really analyze this, there's so many different charts, and there's social scientists like Hofstede's, global metrics. They've broken down power distance, hierarchy, femininity, masculinity. They got like so many charts. But here's the interesting thing. I will give Andrew Tate props, is because he's sort of, and by the way, I'm not saying I agree with him, especially his views on women. I'm just saying he does make people, a crowd that will never think about the words collectivism and individualism and Hofstede global metrics. Like, I guess he gets their brains to turn a little bit.
Yeah, it's really interesting how Andrew Tate, whenever he talks about Chinese people, apparently he's a Chinese professor. And like people take him his word because like
the internet is just so
his
gullible
audience
sometimes.
is
Funny.
like people who don't really think about Chinese people a lot, in my opinion. I mean, I think some people know something, but really the way he says things is very simplified and entertaining. So, I mean, basically what he's just saying is like, I think if I had to agree in some way, I think it's because like it's not obvious that a lot of Chinese people are thinking about their own life and like only having fun. They're honestly, it seems like they're thinking about like a multi-generational benefit to their work and setting things up for
Just
the next
taking
generations.
the long view on things.
Yeah,
or like
just-
really, really long view.
Yeah, just
facts.
seeing the
Chinese-
generational view on things.
That's
and
how my
not just,
family
like,
is, bro.
their
I
weak-
mean,
But
I'm
honestly,
different.
I
ain't
actually
gonna
have my
lie.
own thoughts on this, and it's like really individualism and collectivism, those are the macro trends within each country. But when I analyze like the West on a micro level and like the East, or like specifically China on a micro level,
getting very
it almost feels like China's more individualistic than America is on a micro level, but on a macro society,
Conquering the world, big military people.
Human rights.
mid, macro. Anyway, moving on.
I was like, are you telling me we spent all that money blowing this place up and now the Chinese are just going to rebuild it and get paid? That's what's happening. Because we won't do it because of human rights, sanctions, all this crap.
This is how China's going to conquer the world. It's not going to conquer the world through some big military. People go, oh, China and America are going to have a war. There's not going to be no big war, none of that dumb shit. It's going to be conquer the world fiscally. It's going to be conquering the world financially. It's doing that through investing in foreign and developing markets where no one else is interested. Or the people who are interested are hindered because of international sanctions or hindered by their ability to risk their life for a few dollars profit. And the Chinese don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I mean, what I feel like Andrew Tate did is read like 5 to 10 articles on Reuters about the China and Africa like relations, which there is a lot going on there for sure.
This dude Andrew Tate, bro. It just the way he talks makes it sound right, bro. But I feel like a lot of the things he's saying personally. Let me see what else he's talking about here. See the last thing.
All list. Dicks. We're obviously the Chinese. And
All right. Obviously this falls in line with popular stereotypes. And when he's talking about Chinese customers, how does he know they're all Chinese? I don't know. I mean, obviously, I think there's a certain type of guy who would pay a lot of money to talk to these women, whoever these women are that he's
I
employing.
mean, I've even heard these stereotypes, let's be honest, from like Logan Paul, Joe Rogan,
Yeah.
Andrew Schultz. I mean, there's so many people that are popular in this almost like type of like sphere right now. And it's like sort of like these Nemoidians that are really smart, but they're dweeby with small peepees are going to take over the, the galactic empire. I'm just making a Star Wars reference right here. It's like, it's a really common thing that you see. But then I'm like, oh, wait, so you're saying the Chinese guys are dweeby and have small weenies, but they are going to take over the world.
And especially for masculine
What
macho
are
men
they
like
talking
him,
about?
penis size is always that one thing that you're trying to use so that you know how to judge the other guy on. Like if he has a small penis, but he's smart and successful, you can always have that on and be like, he got a small pee-pee, whatever. He's smart or whatever. He does his thing. He's productive, but he got a small pee-pee. And it's always a way to write people off. And he is, I do think him and his crowd kind of low-key are writing off whatever.
Yeah, they probably. I mean, that's stereotypical. Y'all know the vibes with that, bro. I mean, I've been told that my entire life, bro. You know what I'm saying? Do I care? I really don't. But I feel like everything else Andrew Tate's talking about, it's talking about honestly like a lot of first generational Asian. I wouldn't even say Asian Americans, but Asians that migrated here, man. My family migrated over here. And they're just so traditional. And I feel like I want to say millennials, Asians, and lower. You know what I'm saying? Like the Gen Zs and any generation after millennials is just like the new like modern Asian Americans versus like the old traditionals. Obviously, you're still gonna have some people that grew up on the old traditional. Like I got cousins that grew up old traditional. I'm a little different, I guess. You know what I'm saying? I just adapted to society. I had to adapt to society. Shit, I'm on the internet. But even before that, I was playing basketball. I was going to the gym. I was pretty much an entrepreneur for the past like 4 years. So I got to interact with people. You know what I'm saying? So I adapted to the culture. You know what I'm saying? Like I got to keep updated with what's hot, what's not, what's trending, et cetera, versus some of my friends probably that aren't really too into that, which I don't blame. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. You don't have to. But, they're not caught up with the culture. And, you know what I'm saying? When you're not caught up with the culture, some things you might get offended by or you might not understand it properly. And I feel like that division of the world is just going to have to continue to adapt to the culture. I think that's really what is holding back some people that don't understand memes, you know what I'm saying, sarcasm online, et cetera. But yeah, man, let me know what you guys think about what Andrew Tate said. Be sure to go subscribe to the channel, man. Shout out to the From Bros. Other than that, I'm out to stand. Peace.